Alright, students, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, a very special good evening to one and all. Yeah, good evening Rakesh, good evening Jyoti, and good evening Navin, and others as well. Okay, fine. Myself Shabnam as usual from the code Ark, and we are here today at the day 10 of our Python track of the full stack web development series. Okay, fine. Before we could start, as usual, the way we always do, let's have a quick recap of what we have learned the day yesterday. We were talking about the dictionaries and the tuple. Am I right? Okay, so in fact I have a program here also. Fine. Somewhere we learned how to create a dictionary, that is inside the curly bracket. A dictionary is always a sort of key value pair structure. Am I right? Otherwise, audibility, visibility, all clear, right? Okay, audibility, visibility, all clear, correct? Oh. I am audible, right, guys? I am audible, correct? If somebody could acknowledge to me in the chat section. Any problem here? I'm audible, right? Students, please make the doubt clear. I'm audible, correct? Okay, fine. Thank you for that response. Quick. So let's go ahead. We learned how to create a dictionary. What is a dictionary? Am I right? Fine. Or does it have indices, or is it ordered, or is it unordered? But one thing is for sure, it is definitely a mutable collection type. You can change, you can add, you can delete. You can join the two dictionaries. Am I right? You can delete item from the dictionaries. You can even clear the data from the dictionary. Okay, one thing that we did not study yesterday about dictionary means how to iterate over the dictionary, that we will be seeing soon. Okay, good. Then in the other half of the class yesterday we started talking about the tuples. So here we go. If T is a tuple, first of all it will be created inside a round bracket. Tuples are always immutable. That means once created, no new items can be added, no existing can be deleted, nor existing can be modified. Is that okay? Fine, all of us? Okay, yeah, of course you can join the two tuples using the simple plus operator. You can even clear the item, not clear, you can even delete the entire tuple using del command. Alright, and I hope you all are having or giving your hands on to the practice questions that we are sending almost on a daily basis. Correct? Fine. Now, people, today onwards, we actually focus on the logic centered track of Python, thereby starting with the conditional statements in Python. Alright, so the class today for conditional statement, upcoming class that is for loops, people. Now with conditional statement and loops understood, we are ready almost to code for any logic based program in Python. Alright, now for those of my friends who are coming here from the already knowledge of C, C++, Java or JavaScript, this might seem to be very synonymous to you. It's similar to you. Okay, and for those who are learning this concept for the first time, programming, coding for the first time, you might take some time to grasp it. So let's start, please. Conditional statements in Python. Number one, like any programming language, even in Python, conditional statements help us to control the flow of the program based on conditions. You understood my point? Please, I repeat the concept again. Conditional statements help us to control the flow. Control the flow of the program, what to execute when. Okay, so it allows us, it gives us that authority in hand of the developer that please control the program ka flow based on condition. Okay, that means based on a particular condition, if it is true, then something should be printed, and if it is not true, then something should be printed. I hope you got my point. Say for example, if this is the month of December, I want to print it's a winter season. And if this is not the month of December, then I want to print it is not a winter season. Alright, so whether what message I should display on the screen. Should I display this is a winter season or this is not a winter season? That depends upon the condition. The current month is December or not. Is that okay? Another example, the current year which is going on, that is 2023, is it a leap year or was it a leap year? Now that depends, leap year occurs every 4 year. Am I right? हर 4 साल में एक बार leap year आता है. So I would simply try to divide 2023 by 4, and if I see the remainder is 0, that means yes, the year is a leap year. Otherwise it's not a leap year. Right? So this message I want to print on the screen, this is a leap year or it is not, based on the condition that it occur in an interval of 4 years. Correct? Right? So this is called as we control the programmer, the engineer or the developer people control the flow of the code based on some or the other condition. Okay, this condition keeps becoming complicated the more larger are the criteria. What does this mean? We will see practically. Okay, fine. Number 2, after understanding what is if else, people, this was a point I spoke continuously in front of you. The second one here, conditional programming, it allows us to take decision, that means control the flow of the program based on one or more than one particular conditions. Is that okay? Fine. Number 2, like any other programming language, even Python, every other or many other programming languages, even Python makes use of if else to apply conditional programming. Okay, to use or to apply conditional programming. That means this is how the syntax goes. People, this is how the syntax goes. Let me increase the size of the font, please. And here we go. Here we go. Okay, so if a particular condition is true, some part of the code will run. Okay, thank you Krishnan and thank you others also for acknowledging here me in the chat section. Okay, I repeat the point again. If a particular condition is true, so this condition need to be defined. Okay, you want to write the condition inside the round bracket, you want you don't write it. Yes, but if a condition is true, this part of the code will run. This is the syntax of only if. Okay, but you sometime also want to write what if the condition is not true. For example, if this is the month of December, okay, if the current month people, okay, is equal to 2 equal to, because it's a comparison operator. Okay, if this is a month of December, then I want to print maybe, just a moment please. Yeah, then I want to print, yes, it's a winter season. Okay, it's a winter season here. But what if it is not a month of December? So I don't want this story to end here only. The piece of code or the logic of code to work till here. So in that case, we even continue the if conditional statement by writing its counterpart, that is else. Okay, else print it's not. Okay, I'm writing in short now. Alright, so like any other programming languages, as I told you, even Python makes use of if and else to demonstrate conditional statements. Alright, now next, before actually we can write this code in a Visual Studio Code or Colab or Jupyter Notebook or Python Idle, whatever interface or editor you use, we actually write and run it. People, there is some very, very important concept of Python that we need to learn, even important than conditional programming and loops and many other things that we have already learned, something called as indentation. Okay, something called as indentations. Okay, now first of all, make sure I speak in a simple language to you. Look, this is what I have kept it written. In indentation, a group of lines of code is converted into a block, or indentation group lines of code into a block. Okay, so consider it this way. Indentation in Python, groups, people, these groups lines of code into a block. Alright, block means what? Nothing but a unit of code grouped together. Let me write here. Block is nothing but a unit of code. Code people. Code or lines of code. Okay, grouped together. Right? Now for those who are unable to understand what's block, in case if you have remembered like JavaScript, how did it write if else? So if say some condition a greater than 10 people, if this is true, so what to be done, we used to write inside the block, correct? If the condition is true, kya karna hai? All these lines of code we have written inside the block. So this opening closing curly bracket there, or like in many other languages also, is used to group the code together in one unit called as a block. Right? So that computer or the interpreter or compiler of your programming language understand if this condition is true. So with the help of this marking, opening closing curly bracket, with the help of this marking, from where till where the action is to be taken could be understood. Is that okay? Fine. For my friends who are learning coding for the first time, in fact, खास तौर पे उन बच्चों के लिए, अगर ये पर्टिकुलर कंडीशन ट्रू है, हाँ, तो ओपनिंग क्लोजिंग कर्ली ब्रैकेट से यहाँ पे हमने जैसे कि मार्किंग दे दिया, द वे यू डू मार्किंग इन योर बुक्स और एनी आर्टिकल. Is that okay? That you have to perform steps from year to year. Otherwise, if this particular condition is not true, then this is another piece of code coming up, marked inside opening closing curly bracket called as a block. This all is to be done, whatever has been mentioned there. Right, fine. So this is what we are arguing here for. Python does not make use of any opening closing curly bracket to denote, mark the blocks or group the code into a block. Instead, it makes use of indentation. Okay, now what is indentation, people? Indentation is nothing but few spaces given. Ideally, even if you give one space, that's an indentation. Understood, right? Most of the people have habit to give 4 spaces, right? Anyways, I come to this point again. Indentation is nothing but those few spaces which is given in the beginning of the line is called as an indentation. Okay, say I want to start a new paragraph. Maybe I don't start close from the margin. Hello, hi, how are you? Okay, I don't start this line of first sentence of the paragraph close from the margin. I leave some space. This is nothing but called as an indentation. Is that okay? Fine. How many space? Again, there is no such hard and fast rule. 4 spaces look decent, but even if you give 1 space, that is still considered as an indentation in Python. Okay, now how does indentation does the work of that curly bracket here? How indentation is used by Python to declare a block or group lines of code into a block? Try to understand. Okay, say I write here print hello. Okay, next print hi. Again, say let's say print this is day 10 of full stack. Alright, and then suddenly I say if okay, you want to write the condition inside the round bracket, you want to do not write that, both of it works here. I say if suddenly say the current month is equal to December. So this is what I'm checking for. Okay, if the current month is equal to December, people, number 1 colon. After you have written the condition in the syntax, first rule over here is please provide the colon. Colon means the beginning of the block. Is that okay? Why is it important? Naveen, I'll come to your question. First, try to understand what is indentation and how to give it. Then we'll answer this question, why indentation is important. Number 2, why, like JavaScript or like Java, Python doesn't make use of opening closing curly bracket. So please keep these questions in your mind with you. So these 3-4 questions we are answering them together. First of all, what is indentation? Okay, number 2, how is it provided? Okay, and number 3, what Naveen is asking, why it is needed. Okay, and also why not Python makes use of opening closing curly bracket to group lines of code into a block. Alright, so these questions we're answering them one by one. Okay, so after you write the condition in the syntax, make sure that you write your colon. Colon marks the beginning of the block, people. Okay, now if you write like this, print, this is the winter season, people, this is the winter season, this is going to give you an error because it's a wrong indentation. You have given your colon, that means it is going to begin a block. You have to give here at least one space to indent this line inside if. You understood? There is no opening closing curly bracket here. Imbalance indentation will mark the end of this block. So if this condition is true, what to be done? People, if this condition is true, what to be done? You have to write properly inside the if block, which will be denoted by its indentation. Okay, so I want to say this is winter. Maybe I write one space, 2 space, 3 space, whatever you want. But this line is an indented line. Is that okay? Maybe I want to print one more thing here. Say print. Say hope you are enjoying. Is that okay? And suppose if it is not December, so let me write like this, else. But you notice one thing, where am I writing else? It is right in the indentation level of if, correct? Because else does not come inside if. Else is a counterpart of if. Am I right? People, else is not to be considered as an action to be taken if the above condition is true. Else by itself is another decision, correct or not? Right? So you cannot bring this part else in approx this indentation level. You have to type else exactly in the indentation level of if. Right? If you're indeed understanding, please acknowledge to us in the chat section. Right? So else. Again, you can't write here print because this is the beginning of the block as mentioned by the colon. Okay, now since it's a block, let me leave some space. And let me write here like this. Print, it's not a winter season. Okay, it's not a winter season. Hoping you're understanding it. Right, fine. Now those who are still finding it difficult to understand, people, see, have you ever seen sometime any index page of the book which is highly populated? For example, look, for example, chapter number 1, say introduction. Hierarchy maintain रहनी चाहिए. Yes, correct. Okay. Introduction to Python. Okay, now in introduction to Python, for example, the author has also written about, people, author has also written about, say, variables used in Python. Okay. Now the variables is talking about the two types of variable, global variable and the local variable. So this is again 1.1.1. One is global, another is local. Okay, so 1.1.2, that's local. Okay, then here he is talking about the operators used in Python. So this is 1.2. Maybe he is writing here operators. Okay, now say I want to say the first operator is a logical operator, then comes your arithmetic operator. But people, see, you have to take care of indentation so that readability is clear. Okay, if you write 1.2.1, there is nothing wrong. Say logical operator. Correct. Although you have given the numbering here correct, but the readability has been disturbed. That means this should be little indented to look inside 1.2. Correct. I repeat one more time. 1.2.1. It should be indented little inside 1.2 so that it draws an impression that this topic comes under operator. Alright. Similarly, comparison operator, this operator, that operator. Right? ये सब चलते चलते when chapter number 2 starts, you cannot expect me to write chapter 2 here like this. Conditional programming. Okay? Because if you write number 2 here, it looks as if this topic comes under the title operator. So that means the indentation level followed here in the index page is wrong, or it is confusing. What topic falls under what main topic or what outer topic? If somebody could acknowledge this example, understood or not? Right, so exactly what role these spaces are playing here on a index page to clear, to make the readability clear of the content. easily the one who reads the content will come to know what topic comes under what other big topic, who is a subtopic that comes under other major topic, right? So that's how Python follows here, right? So if you say if this condition is true, please indent the lines which is action to be taken if the condition is true inside if by giving some spaces in the beginning. Understood? Space if one less or one more will make the indentation to be changed, wrongly the line of code to fall in some other group, or simply ending you run the program with errors. Hoping you understand, right? So hierarchy, the level must be maintained here. Is that okay? Fine. So this was about what is indentation, how to set indentation, how to avoid mistakes in indentation. The spaces matter here. One space more or one space less will make it an actual different information. For example, local के बाद अगर global मैंने ऐसे लिखा होता, so this confuses the readability, correct? It seems as if local falls under the topic global. Yes or no, girls and boys? ऐसा लगता है जैसे कि this topic local falls under the main topic global or the subtopic global, but actually it is not. This both comes under the main topic variable, so you have to take care of these spaces called as indentation. Okay, thank you so much. Alright, now the question that Navin asked me some time ago, why? Understood? Why does Python makes use of indentation? The very basic reason number one, which you will find most of the people answering you, because it makes the code more readable. I hope you got my point. Avoiding, neglecting, or absolutely avoiding the use of those curly brackets, this makes the code more readable because you come to know what line comes under which major block. Is that okay? So it makes your code look neat, readable, even by the people who are very beginners in coding or they're just started learning programming, right? So this is the most basic reason. When you indent your code, indentation makes the code look neat and human readability बढ़ जाती है. Reason number 2. Go back the first day when I started Python. What did I tell you? Python is known for writing short codes, correct? One reason why Python is preferred over other programming languages, out of many available, one reason, other than reliability, other than robustness, other than performance, many major points here, Python writes the code short. So aren't we decreasing extra syntax from the code, thereby not using the opening closing brackets? Okay, is there any intelligent friend of mine present here who could understand the logic behind? Thereby neglecting, avoiding, ignoring, उसको इग्नोर करके ओपनिंग क्लोजिंग कर्ली ब्रैकेट को आउट बाहर करके aren't we actually minimizing or shortening the syntax in the code? That means it is writing the short code. Is that okay? So it's like a 2-in-1 work happening. In fact, 2-3-in-1. The code is looking more neat. It's more human readable. The code has become short and easy to understand. And short code, definitely it will guarantee quick performance. Am I right? All of us people, short code, of course, naturally, it's but obvious and but natural, it will guarantee the performance and a speed fast. Alright, I hope all the questions that we have written above is now answered about indentation. What is indentation, how it is written, why it is written, and why not the curly braces like other programming languages. Please make sure that you comment to us in the chat section the concept of indentation understood or not. Okay, remember one thing, as a Python programmer, error कभी भी wrong indentation होने के कारण नहीं आना चाहिए. Understood? There could be 100 reasons for errors and exception, but we should never commit an error just because the indentation is wrong. That seems very illiterate. Okay, so we need to master that art of learning what to indent when and when the indentation should stop. Okay, it reduces the number of lines of code. You're right, Jyoti, that's what I said. Okay, it will reduce the number of lines of code, it will reduce the syntax in the code. Am I right? And plus, a good thing about this is by reducing it, by putting them all out, we are also making the code more readable. Is that okay? So in Python we don't write big codes, ma'am. Yeah, oh no, I can't say that. Python, of course, code is code. Apna Prithviraj. Okay, we don't write big code, but that is the magic of Python that helps you to automatically write short logic or the short syntax. Understood? That's the magic of Python. You can say that's the flexibility provided by the Python. Maybe a logic which I can otherwise take 10 lines to code in JavaScript, I might end up in just 3 or 4 lines of code in Python. Is that okay? Fine. So because of this different facilities or the flexibility is being provided. What are these facilities? How 10 line can be written in 4 line or 2 line? We'll see them slowly, steadily as we go ahead in Python. Okay, good. Thank you everyone. Right, so this was all about the indentation. Now let's have a quick hands-on conditional statement. Right from the day to day, people should have a good knowledge of indentation. More than knowledge, you need to put this knowledge into practice. Okay, because as I told you, error wrong indentation की वजह से कभी भी नहीं आना चाहिए. Okay, that seems as if a programmer have no enough knowledge. All right, fine. So here we go. Okay, here we go. ठीक है, quick. Let me say month is equal to December. So this was a simple assignment. Okay, month is equals to December. Fine. If the data present in month is equal to, because that's a comparison operator, single equal to, that's a assignment operator. Is that okay? Good, fine. Yes. So if the month is equal to December, colon, people, you can't forget the colon and simply start giving indentation. That's an error. Let me try in front of you. So please print, it's a winter season. Okay, and let us run the code up until here. No, sorry, colon is expected if you are indenting a line. I hope you got my point. If you are giving an indentation, mind you, colon is expected to denote the compiler that by indentation starts from here. And suppose if you give colon and you do not indent it, that's again an error. Indentation expected after if. Why? Vice versa. Colon दे दिया मतलब नीचे वाला line indented चाहिए. So you are caught both the way. You don't give colon, the line cannot be indented. You give colon but do not keep indentation, so it will again stop you. भाई अभी तो indentation देना ही पड़ेगा. Right? So it doesn't matter even if it's a one space, that's also an indentation. You see now this makes the code more readable. If the month is December, then this should happen. This is not going to be printed if the above statement is not true. Indicating this line of code forms a block of if. Is that okay? Indent is tough to write a code firstly and practice it comes easy. Yes, Navin. Okay. Alright, fine. So it's a winter season. But what if the month is not December? Okay, say the month is not December. Say I want to write the month is November or any other. So I don't get any error also, but I don't get any output also. Right? So I don't want the program to execute this way. So this time I write if with else. Okay, make sure else, like in the index page, it's a completely new topic here. It's not a part of if. जैसे वो index page का example दिया आपको. Am I right? Like an index page. So X itself is a completely new topic. You cannot indent it inside if. So now the indentation becomes correct. Right? So else, again colon, so that it marks the beginning of indentation. You noticed one thing, students, it happens in your Visual Studio Code also. What Jyoti says, colon indicates the start of the block. Yup, correct. The start of indentation or the start of the block. You're right. The moment you give colon and you hit enter, you automatically get on the next line which is indented. See where my cursor is blinking. But if you do not give colon and hit enter, you are in the beginning of the line, correct? So that's the magic of colon, people. Is that okay? So I say print, otherwise you please print, it's not a winter season. Something like that. Okay, Fine, let me try to take input from the user rather than hard coding the month in the program. Okay, so which function? Python inbuilt function to take input, the function input itself. Say enter the month name, enter the month name. Okay, fine, so it is taking input from the user. Let me say the month is June. I sent sorry, it's not a winter season, because June is now stored in the variable month and June is not equal to December. Is that okay? June is not equal to December. Fine. Okay, this time let us play around with numerical data. Say I want to accept a number from the user and I want to check whether a number is an even number, odd number, positive number, negative number, zero, whole number, or any other kind of number. It's a real number, right? So let me first take an input from the user. Say X input, enter a number. Okay, now you will see that how we'll fall into trouble here. Enter a number. Let me run this part of code. Okay, so the number is 5. Okay, fine. I'm going to rerun this. Now let me check if X mod 2, because modulus is going to check the remainder. If on dividing X by 2, if the remainder is 0, so please print this number is an even number, otherwise print this number is not an even number. That means it's an odd number. Okay, fine. So this is the condition this time. If dividing that number by 2 is going to yield the result 0, that is the remainder 0. Okay, let me quickly run this. Enter a number, I say 5. No, my friend, it results to me in an error here. Not all arguments converted during string formatting. Okay, you focus on this word string here. Now the problem is what, only number can be divided by 2. X actually is not a number. If you try to check the data type of X, say 5. Okay, let me just comment this part of the code, or let me cut and paste later. 1 minute. Okay, say I write 5. So it tells me it's string. Could you see that? Good for the people who are asking me to do the typecasting here. But you need to understand what happened. I entered a number, I displayed the data type of X, and it is telling me it is string. That means by default, whatever you take as input from the user using input function is always a string, right? So 5 got accepted not as a numeric value, but rather as a string data, like this. And you cannot divide a string or multiply a string or check the string greater than any other number. So to perform any of this numeric or logical operation upon a data, it must be a number first. I hope you got my point. The first statement which I spoke was more important here to understand. By default, input function in Python accepts data in the form of string only. Understood? And upon accepted input, if you want to perform any arithmetic operation, any logical operation, at least arithmetic, then you make sure you first convert this string to number. So how to do that? We have a function called as int. Okay, so let me cut this input function and paste it inside int. That means whatever input we have taken is now typecasted into integer and stored in X. Okay, typecasted into integer and then stored in X. So now if you try to run the code and check the data type of X, so I write here 6 or again 5 maybe. Okay, so that's integer. Alright, fine. So this time it's a green signal in front of you that you please check the condition upon X. If it is divisible by 2, come on. If it is divisible by 2, okay, that means it's an even number, or else it's an odd number. Alright, correct. So if I write a 6, yes, it's even. Run the code again. If I write a 7, yes, it is odd. Run the code again. I'm running the code again, and if I write -4, yes, it is even, because even -4 is divisible by 2. Is that okay? Yep, correct, Navin, right. Even -4 is divisible by 2. So checking the divisibility was a stand here to decide the number is even or odd. Alright, fine. But now suppose, I want to accept a number and I want to tell the user whether this number is a positive number or it's a negative number. Okay, so if you enter -4, my output should be, it's a negative number. If you write 4, it should be a positive number. But if you write just 0, it's neither negative nor positive. So I need to check the third condition also. If it is 0, write it is 0. I hope you got my point. 0 है तो भाई ऐसे ही print करना. It's neither negative nor positive. It is 0. Alright, fine. So here comes something called as if-else ladder. Okay, alright, if-else ladder. Okay, that means if the conditions are just 2, if-else will suffice or it will be sufficient. But if the conditions are more than 2, okay, say it was my final examination and I scored 67%. Now according to grading system, I need to tell you whether you belong to A grade or B grade or O grade or F grade. Am I right? Now there are so many classes here to check and judge you. So the condition is obviously not just 2, there are more than 2. Is that okay? So you need to remember this way: if the conditions are more than 2, only if else will not work. We have to make use of if else if ladder. Okay, that is called as if, else if, and else. Okay, if, else if, and else. For those who are coming here from JavaScript, remember we have written there else if like this. But here we write else if in short, that is ELIF. Is that okay, all of us? Fine. So let's see how to do that. I take a number here, say input, enter a number, and I check if x is greater than 0. So please do print it's a positive number. Alright, now if you write here else, so you can't check the third condition, correct? That's what we are arguing here for. If you have more than 2 conditions, so instead of that I write else if. Write the condition, people. X is less than 0, print it's a negative number. Okay, that means it's a negative number. Now suppose you have even more condition, so you keep on writing else if, then again something, else if, then again something. So there is no limit how many such else if in if else ladder you can use. You understood? For example, I want to check 67% comes in which grade. So if it is above 80, print O grade. 70 to 80, print A grade. 60 to 70, print B grade. 50 to 60, print C grade. Percentages between or below 50, print D grade. So that means else if are going to be so many in this else if ladders, correct? Right? Else if are going to be so many. Now since we are done with else ifs, we don't want them anymore. So let me write the third or the last one as just else. That means ऊपर वाले सारे भी condition अगर true नहीं है तो finally ये कर डालो. Else print it's neither negative nor positive or it is a 0. Okay, it is simply 0. For those who are wondering why not to write any condition here, no, ideally we don't write any condition with else, because if the above conditions are not true, eventually it will come in else. Understood? It will automatically be coming up here in else. Right? So let's see everything goes fine or not. Enter a number, say -9, it's a negative. Enter a number +9, it's positive. And enter a number 0, 0. So it is just a 0. Alright. Remember one program we have done long back, that you accept a number and if the number is divisible by both 5 and 13, divisible by both 5 also and 13 also, then print yes, it is divisible by both, otherwise not. Remember, 5 and 13 both are the prime numbers, people. Any number divisible by both of these number, the chances are really very less. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. Let me comment this part of code. Okay, after I accept a number, I check if x is divisible by 5. Am I right? This is the condition to check the divisibility, correct? People, logic to check the divisibility. After dividing x by 5, the remainder is 0. That means it is divisible. And so this is a logical operator because both the conditions should be true. Am I right? Both the condition, people. It should be divisible by 5 also. And it should be divisible by 13 also. Only then we would print divisible by both. Okay, else we print sorry not. Okay, something like that. Fine. So if I enter, let me say the first number as 64. No, it is not. It is not. And the other number as 65. Okay, so it is divisible by both. Is that okay? I think so. Okay, let me get rid of this part for some time. Okay, what was that? 65. Yes, it is divisible by both. I hope you got my point. Is it okay? Now what is my criteria here? People, see what is my criteria here. How we wrote above. 1 minute. Let me come here. How did we write above? Control C and the code is ready. Okay, enter a number. Check if it is greater than 0 or less than 0 or it is 0 itself, correct? So this is how we checked up. But this time what is my criteria, Acha, sorry, it was not this one actually. I think I'll have to write the code again. Yes, it was this one. Okay, so here we go. Fine, so accept a number if it is divisible by 2, that means even, otherwise not. But what happens is, even if I write -4 here, so it tells me even. I want to tell you even or odd only if the number is greater than 0. You understood my point here? Not for any negative number I want to find even and odd. Even and odd must be found out only if the number is a positive number. Right, now here comes the concept of nested if. Okay, nested if. First of all, try to understand. Nested if is not if else ladder, people. Okay, nested if means what? If inside if. Nesting, people, if inside if. Like, jalebi, wo gol gol andar jata hai. Right. So let me first do like this. If only x is greater than 0, then only try to divide x by 2. Are you understanding? Only if x is greater than 0. See the indentation properly. See the indentation, people. Okay, only if x is greater than 0, go to check if it is divisible by 2 or it is not divisible. Right? Okay, if it is greater than 0 and it is divisible by 2 also, so please print it is even. If it is divisible greater than 0 and it is not divisible by 2, that means print it is odd. Understood? But what if it is not greater than 0? I hope you are not confused. ये तो कहानी आपने सुनाई अगर x is greater than 0. But if it is not greater than 0, that means the outer if का else we need to write. So please print it's a negative number. Are you understanding? Fine. So even and odd, I want to check only if the number is greater than 0. Otherwise not. Right? You have to check the indentation very properly here, people. What code comes under which block? Right? So this entire if else falls in the outer if block, and this else is also a part of outer if block, correct? Right? So if I could run the program till here. Okay, so enter a number, say 45. Yes, it's odd. I enter a number as 68. It's even. But if I enter a number as minus 90, sorry, it's a negative number. So there is no question of telling you whether it is even or odd. Okay, would be glad if someone could acknowledge to us in the chat section, is this nested if else ladder, the things are understood or not? All of us shall be waiting here in the chat section for your response. See, for those who think तो ये काम तो हम if else ladder से भी कर सकते थे. अरे but then how many lines of code you keep writing in the ladder? For example, what if the above code we wanted to write using if else ladder? Say if x is greater than 0 and x is divisible by 2, then print even. Understanding? Else if, again we have to check na, x is greater than 0 and x is not divisible by 2. Am I right? X is not divisible by 2. Then please print it is odd. There's one more condition here now. Else print, yeah, it's a negative number. Am I right? So you think, you see here, if I make use of if else ladder in this above case, if I make this if else ladder in the above case, although somehow you will end up achieving an output, but don't you think this code is getting repeated so many times? X greater than 0, x divisible by 2, x greater than 0 and x not divisible by 2. So why to increase this duty, code, performance time, execution time so many times? Rather make use of nested if. Okay, so the basically nested if is nothing but if inside if. Okay, so this is if inside if. Alright, people, in Python we also have one shorthand method of writing if. This is my topic. Let me show you here. Okay, there is a shorthand method of writing code, people. Okay, Python allows you to write a shorthand, use a shorthand if you really have a short if. Right? What is the syntax? Write the code. What to be done if the condition is true. Okay, for example, print this is winter season. Or let me write like this. Print the number is even if that number on division by 2 is equal to 0. Else print it is odd. So if you really have the action to be taken if the condition is true or false, just a line of code. I repeat the point again, action to be taken if a condition is true or false, just a line of code. So you can, instead of writing it with indentation and making it a block, you can convert it into a just one line syntax as well. Right? Please acknowledge to me in the chat section, are you understanding? So print A is positive if A is greater than 0, otherwise print A is negative. Alright, otherwise print A is negative. Let us test both of this code one by one. Both of this code. Okay, let me work in a new cell or let me work here. Okay, so we are printing if it works here well, otherwise okay. Due to copy paste, people, these codes are not accepted by Python. These single quotes are accepted this way. Okay, this is error due to copy paste. UTF encoding needs to be changed here. Okay, for some time, if I could just cut this code or keep it in comment if you don't mind. Alright, enter a number 65. Yes, it's odd. Please ignore this. This is a collapse way of dealing with comment. Ignore that. Okay, we follow here, people. So enter a number 65. It's odd. I rerun this code. 54. So that's even. Is that okay? Fine. So this time, because there was just only two conditions to be checked. Of course, you can't expect me to write else if ladder here. Okay, there is no shortened way of writing else if ladder or the nested if. Only for if else this is a shortened way of writing. And that two condition applied, उसमें भी condition apply होता है. If you really have only one line of code to be executed or max to max 1 or 2 lines of code, conditions are also easy. Alright, so what to do if a condition is true, else what to do if a condition is false. Okay, so this is how Python supports shortened way of writing it. Okay, so let's see from today's agenda, have we covered up the concepts or not? Okay, we have talked about the if condition, if else, because it's not necessary that every time you use if you have to use else also. No, it's not compulsory. Am I right? Like if a condition is true, I want to do something, but if it is not true, I don't want to do anything. Are you understanding? I don't want to really do anything, so we don't have to write else in that case, right? So how to use just if else, if else if, and then else ladder. Then what is the nested conditions? Conditions with logical operator like and or. Is that okay? All of us here, people, fine. Okay, let me discuss some of the exercise question with you in the last 2-3 minutes. Okay, have a look at this one. Do you understand? Get user input by saying enter your age. Okay, if your age is 18 or above, give feedback you are eligible to drive. Okay, 18 या 18 साल के ऊपर आपकी उम्र है, so please give a message that you are eligible to driving. But if it is below 18, first of all give a message like you are not eligible. But if I tell someone that you are not eligible, I have to inform him or her for how many more years? Are you understanding? Say my age is 12, so I have to wait for another 6 years to be eligible for driving. Right? That's what exactly is mentioned here. Right? So the sample output is enter your age, so the fellow enters 30. Okay, you're old enough to learn driving. But if he enters 15, sorry, you have to wait for another 3 years to learn to drive. Okay, so try to use some logic. Try to see whether you have to use if else ladder or a nested if or just if else will work out, and so on. Okay, fine. The second question is also a way similar to the first one. Like accept the two ages, my age and your age, and display the difference between the two age. Okay, say your age is 15 and my age is 30. So maybe I am 15 years older to you. Okay, your age is 25 and my age is 30. I am 5 years older to you. So this way, try to do that. Okay, fine. Alright, see this one. Take two numbers from the user. If A is greater, then return return A, and if B is greater, then return B. Alright, I think if A is greater than B, return A is greater. Yeah, whoever is greater, return that number. Okay, whoever is greater, then return that number. For example, the two numbers here are 4 and 3. We are simply writing as 4 is greater than 3. I think the last one was easier one, correct? Fine. Okay, people, this is going to use your if else ladder. So write a code which gives grade to the student according to the score. So, but obvious you have to accept the score from the user first here. Say enter the score of the user, except that the user is entering score out of 1000 or maybe in terms of percentage or maybe out of 100. So if it is 80 out of 100, print A, otherwise B, C, D and F. So this is again a ladder kind of. Okay, this is also a ladder kind of. So check if the season is autumn, winter, spring or summer. If the user inputs these 3 months, that means it is autumn. September, October, November. December, January, February, that means it's going to be winter. Otherwise, some months spring, some months summer. I hope you got more. But you'll have to use the logical operator or here. Or. And you're going to use if else ladder as well. Okay. Fine. Now this is a list of fruit. You have to check if a fruit doesn't exist in the list, then add the fruit. I hope you got my point. You have to add the fruit here if it does not already exist in the list. No, Jyoti, there is no concept of switch here. It used to be, but then switch came with lot of performance issue, so it is ideally deprecated. Understood? If you are someone who is coming here from the background of C, C++ or Java and expecting us to use your switch case, answer is no. Python doesn't support any such switch case criteria. Even if it does, we should avoid it, because switch case comes with a lot of memory performance issues. I hope the question is answered. Fine, people, is this clear? If the particular fruit is not in the list, then add the fruit. If it is already in the list, then nothing to be done. Better don't code the else part, correct? Fine, so better you only try to do that. And along with that, there are some questions on the present PPT slides also that I have left it today. This one. Okay, look at this one, people. A student will not be allowed to sit in exam if the attendance is less than 75%. So take the following input from the user. How many classes were held? So suppose 120 lectures were happened. 120 XOB's lecture happened, and how many classes he attended. And then calculate the percentage and then check whether he is allowed to sit in the exam or not. Okay, so all the input you have to take from the user himself. How many classes were held, how many you attended, then your code is going to calculate the percentage, and finally using if else, you will be displaying the message whether he is allowed to attend the exam or not. Okay, second question, another one that you will be trying is, a shop gives discount of 10% if the cost amount of total purchase quantity is more than 1000. I'm sorry for that. Where is it gone? Here. Okay, so for example, if my bill amount is 5000 rupees, I will get a total discount of 10% on the bill. But if my total bill amount is 725 rupees, I'm not going to get any discount because 725 is not greater than 1000, correct? So that's what, if your bill amount is more than 10,000, 1000, you're going to get a discount of total 10% on the bill. Right? So what are we going to ask from the user here? Ask user the quantity. What will be the cost of that quantity? Suppose the user say, I purchased this pen 10 in quantity and the price of each pen is rupees 100. So 10 into 100, you will be generating a bill. This is 1000. But because the bill is 1000 or more than 1000, you have to pay only 900. How? You will be calculating 10% of 1000, subtracting it from the amount and then producing the result. Please give it a try. Suppose if you cannot do, then I will do it on Monday. Is that okay? Fine. The third one is very simple here. Program display high if a number entered is a multiple of 10, otherwise display by. Okay. Lastly, write a program to check the last digit of a number is divisible by 3 or not. I repeat one more time. Write a program to check the last digit of a number is divisible by 3. Okay. Now, how to get the last digit of any number? To get last digit of any number, just divide the number by 10 and check the remainder. Okay. Or maybe take a mod of 10, the whatever hint that I have written there. Okay, so all these PPT questions as well as the word file question I'm sending to you in the WhatsApp group. Make sure that you have kept them all coded by Monday. You are having 2 days holidays here. So any assignment question or any assignment if yet left pending, make sure that you are coding them. Is that okay? Fine. Let's have a quick recap of what we have learned today. We learned what is a conditional statement. How does it allow a user to control the flow of the program based on some conditions? Then we also learned, more importantly, what is an indentation in Python. Python doesn't make use of any blocks or curly brackets to denote the block. To enhance readability in the code, it rather makes use of spaces in the beginning of the line called as indentation. Otherwise, conditional programming supports if statement, if else, the if else ladder using elif, nested conditions, if conditions with logical operators like and or. We also learned today what is a shorthand method of writing if. Guys, I think this is that one. For those who joined us late, shorthand method of writing if, where it is gone. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a shorthand method. Code to write if the condition is true, else code to write if the condition is false. But this won't work for else if ladder. This won't work for the nested if. This works only if the if else is short and the action to be taken on condition to be true is hardly a line of code. Is that okay? Fine. That's all from our side for the day today. Enjoy your weekend. See you back again on Monday. We are still left to send you the schedule that I promised yesterday, but for some reason I could not prepare it. I'll make sure that I send you the day-wise schedule soon in the group. Okay? Bye. Good night. Take care.